MIGA. As we all know, it's kind of been drummed into us throughout med school. Medical indemnity is quite important, but now it's actually getting to the stage where we actually need it as we start with interns next year. So Leslie's here to tell us all about it and also tell us about some real scenarios of interns who have needed help from the medical indemnity insurance provider. So please join me in welcoming LITRW2 to the stage.
We'll just lay some forms out. I think I'll take this pulpit. It's nice and intimate.
Did you have some slides?
I don't have any slides. Is that okay with everybody?
Yeah.
Okay. Sometimes I think slides can be a little bit distracting. And the truth is, I just don't have any slides. Anyways, I've been thinking this week what profound thing I can say to you guys. I'm so excited for you guys. What can I say that's gonna, one thing that's gonna sort of make an impression on your mind and how important insurance is, because it's pretty boring, but very important topic. My boss, by the way, Tim, was meant to come here and impart his wisdom and his important message, but unfortunately you got me. And I've been with MIGA for about 7 months now, so some of you probably know Alicia, who's probably would have seen your medical student career through. She recently has just got another role in our company, in our corporate area, so she's just sort of dealing with corporate business. But I just want to thank Lachlan for the introduction, and also I wanted to thank Jesse O'Neill and Dr. Wellington for their thoughts on the evening. And for some of you who don't know me, I had the opportunity to speak to some of you this evening. My name is Leslie, as Lachlan mentioned, LITRW2, and I'm with MIGA. And I think somebody summarized it really nicely today when I said if you needed insurance and if you were signed up with MIGA, and he says after 6 years, I think we all are. So just out of curiosity and being a little bit cheeky, can I have a show of hands who's actually got insurance? I'm not going to say who you got insurance with, but can I just see who's actually got insurance? Well, my work is done here. Okay, well that's really, really good, because obviously you guys realize the importance of MIGA, medical indemnity insurance. We insure medical students and doctors, and MIGA are proud to partner with Adelaide Medical Student Society and to sponsor this event. We are South Australia's leading medical indemnity organization. We're local based. We kind of pride ourselves on that. And we have a long tradition of supporting and sponsoring these types of events at Adelaide University, and in particular for Adelaide Medical Student Society. So I promise not to take too much of your time, but I thought that I would share with you some real life scenarios, some case studies on some of the assistance that some of the doctors received. So you're probably asking yourself why you probably need medical indemnity insurance as an intern, because it's probably a very low risk, and given that most hospital doctors are employer indemnified, but there are gaps, and there are many gaps. And I can guarantee you guys that most of the time, it's not, a very low percentage is claims. A lot of other things is the gaps are things like if somebody makes a complaint to the medical board, coronial investigations, just a number of things that you could get caught up in. And if you don't have insurance, that could be an issue for you. So as mentioned, some of the important things are like Good Samaritan Acts, threats to your safety by patients, and allegations of discrimination or harassment. Those are common things. And even employment matters, which has us mostly, you're talking about some of those issues. Coronial inquiries, or just criminal investigations, gratuitous advice. Those are some of the things that you need insurance for. Okay, so I have a case study, and it's a real life case study. I actually have a couple. I'm just gonna share the one with you, and we'll see how it goes with time. If we have time at the end, I'm more than happy to share the other one. So this case study is titled, and it's also on our net, it's called Patient on the Move. So it's an elderly patient with a history of mental illness, was presented at a metropolitan hospital for ECT. And consent was obtained on admission to the hospital, but for her convenience, she was transferred to a second hospital. So at the second hospital, she was admitted under the care of a consultant. And Dr. Smith was the consultant who arranged for the ECT, which took place without incident. But 2 months later, Dr. Smith received a letter from the Department of Health notifying him of an investigation into his treatment of the patient and advising Dr. Smith of the date to interview him. So an allegation of professional misconduct had been made by the hospital's clinical director. Dr. Smith's interview was to take place in 2 weeks' time. It was alleged that Dr. Smith arranged for the ECT to be performed without required consent. And so while consent was obtained at the first hospital, it was the second hospital's policy to obtain consent again. So Dr. Smith was not aware of the existence of a formal written policy regarding the consent of a transferred patient within the mental health service. So Dr. Smith immediately contacted our office for assistance and discussed the matter with one of our lawyers, which is really handy because we are locally based. Dr. Smith thought he was obliged to submit an interview. So Dr. Smith was unaware of the practice issues that he would be questioned about. And he was very anxious and obviously about the interview process, like anybody would. Our office advised Dr. Smith that while he should cooperate with the investigation, he was under no obligation to take part in the interview, which is something you probably wouldn't know unless you had somebody within your legal background to tell you so. Rather than submit to an interview, our lawyer advised Dr. Smith that he could provide a written statement addressing the issues raised by the Department of Health. This would enable Dr. Smith to have more control and therefore feel more comfortable with the entire process. So on behalf of Dr. Smith, our office put together a wrote to the department declining to submit to an interview and inviting the investigation officer to supply a list of questions for Dr. Smith to address in a written statement, which was obviously much better for Dr. Smith, not being confronted with, being in an interview and not knowing what those questions are going to be. So on receipt of the list of questions, the lawyer sat down with Dr. Smith to formulate a considered response, and the response was submitted by our office, by MIGA on behalf of Dr. Smith. And the department elected not to proceed any further matter, as Dr. Smith had adequately addressed the issues and the concerns that were raised. So sometimes the best course of action is not immediate, it's not obvious. Had Dr. Smith submitted to the interview, the outcome could have been quite different. In an interview situation, there's potential for the doctor to be put on the spot, wrong-footed by the questioning technique. So that's just one of the cases that we managed not long ago where having insurance, this is probably a consultant. And in his mind, obviously there was nothing that he intended to do wrong, but he missed that little step in the second hospital where it got him into trouble, and if he didn't have insurance, it would have turned into thousands and thousands of dollars to obviously cover that. So like I said, you may need independent representation where your employer are in conflict, because obviously if your employer, the hospital is not going to be able to defend you, because that's sort of like a conflict of interest if there's something that's going on within the hospital. You're definitely going to need that independent support to provide you with the advice on your behalf. And that advice, obviously, from your insured can be invaluable. The other good news is that intern cover is free with MIGA, plus free cover up until June of your third postgraduate year, so you won't pay anything until 2016. So that's pretty good news. For free cover, broad cover, it's really important, and make sure that you have that in place. At the moment, we have a couple of competitions running. We've got competition is running to you be in a chance to win a Microsoft Surface Pro. It opened, I think it opened in August, yeah, and it closes on the 24th of February. So if you're already with MIGA, you just need to make sure that you log on and update your details before the 29th of November, and then you'll go into the drawing for the opportunity to win one of these Microsoft Surface Pro. And if you're just a student, I don't know if there's probably not any students here, we have another competition going to win. There's two cameras, Nikon cameras, and I think this competition was open in August and it closes December. I think we got time, so I may as well go with the other case study.
Sure.
Or should I leave it up? I think I'm just going to answer the question that you asked earlier as well, because we've got the other speakers, so maybe we don't have time. So Lachlan asked earlier about the working hours, whether you'll be covered for the hours that you work outside of your schedule hours. Is that right?
Yeah,
Lachlan?
so in particular, we had a discussion earlier with some people about if you were being asked to do overtime, which wasn't going to be written on your pay sheet, there's some rumour that you weren't covered by medical indemnity insurance for that period.
Okay, thank you. That's a very good question. It's a question that's commonly asked. As long as those hours that you're working, even if it's outside of your paid hours, is work within your contract, then the work that you're doing is within your contract of work that you're meant to be doing. Even though you might be doing it outside of those hours, then you are covered. So it's not stipulated by the number of hours that you work. It's stipulated by the work in which you're doing. Is that clear?
I suppose this depends what the contract says, so I'm just wondering, we're being told to work overtime. I don't know, is that clear to you guys? Alright, maybe this is me.
So, if you were, say, working as a vascular intern, and you worked some hours in the evening that didn't get transcribed onto your timesheet, but you were treating the vascular patients that were under your care, does that mean you're covered?
Yeah, you should be covered, absolutely.
But if you, as an intern, went and did something else that wasn't in your contract to help someone else out, then you would be covered. Is that
Well,
basically it?
from what I understand, that is the case, and I can definitely get further clarification on that. From what I understand, that is the case. But logically, when you think about it, most work that you're going to be doing are going to be somehow related to what your contract is anyways. Would that be fair to say? I mean, I'm not a medical student.
I guess the issue that we have come across is that people are refusing, consultants and whoever are refusing to let you be paid for work that needs to be done, and it's only your job to be done, but they're just not paying you for it.
Yeah, no.
So if it's your job to be done, then presumably you're covered by
Of
insurance.
course,
Yeah.
we're going to cover you because that was the exact same question. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think as intern, obviously you're concerned about making that good impression because this is the year where you rely on other people to give you that recommendation. So you're going to be working longer hours to make sure that you are on top of things. So yeah, it's not stipulated by the number of hours. They may say that you only can work 5 hours, but you do it in 10 to make sure that everything's in order. The policy, of course, extends to cover you for your work.
Any other questions at this stage?
I'll be here for the rest of the evening. So if you have any other questions that you can think of later, I've got 4 other copies of the scenarios, real life scenarios, but I just didn't want to bore you guys because I know what it's like sitting down there in a lecture after a long day and somebody's up here talking about insurance. So, yeah.
So actually, can I ask a question? Like, I suppose there's 4 different medical insurance companies. Like, I suppose you're better off choosing a company that you're going to be with. Like, what's the difference between all of them?
That's a very good question. Of course, I'm going to say we're the best.
Yeah.
And that you should sign up with us. No, to be honest with you, the covers obviously are going to be very similar because obviously we're insuring the same students and doctors. So they have to be very similar to make sure that you're providing the level of cover that you should be providing. I can say that there are 2 different things that I know we're one of the few that actually give free intern up to halfway through your 3rd year. And I also can say that if we're not the only one, if we're not the only one, we are one of them that gives, I think we provide $1 million in legal expense, and where the others provide 500,000. So that's a huge difference, because like I said before, most of the incidents is going to be, outside of claim issues. If you're going to be nice to your patient, they're not going to lodge a claim. It's usually the other issues that you'll get caught up in. So $1 million is pretty good fee to start with, and especially if it's free. So that's probably the difference. But I encourage you. Obviously, all student covers is free. Like I said, our intern PGY2, partway through PGY3 is also free. But have a close look. At the end of the day, it is your career, and it's important that you have a really close look. But I can just say we're local. We pride ourselves in that. We're South Australian, and so are you. So we like your support. But yeah, have a good look at your policy. But we have a very, very broad cover.
The student membership, it's kind of automatically renewed every year. Does
Yeah.
the same thing happen as you become an intern, or do you just sign up again?
Yeah, same thing should happen as long as you haven't changed your details. So if you change your details, make sure you go in there and you update your email address or whatever address that your information is coming to. As long as you're getting our email addresses, it will automatically update for you. And then when the time comes to pay, it should also, obviously you have that option then, halfway through your PGY3 year.
Any other questions? So,
A lot of us are also indemnified by multiple companies currently.
Yeah.
How
What's with that?
how does that work then next year?
There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Actually, I encourage the students when I am at the student events that, feel free to sign up with all of us, because the cover's free for medical students. Like I said, I'm not sure we're one of the few or the only one. I'm not sure, there might be another that actually gives intern cover, free cover. But when you're a student, so that way you can actually make an informed decision when it does come, when you do have to pay. So it's getting close to time to pay. So, well, for us, it's still a fair bet. It won't be until June 2016. So, if you're with us at the moment, you won't have to pay until then. So you still got a little bit of ways to think about. But yeah, as a student, it's free cover with everybody. We encourage everybody to sign up.
Okay, well, if there are no more questions, perhaps we'll wrap up there.
Okay.
That's okay.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for having me. And
Thanks so much for coming.
enjoy the rest of your evening. And no doubt I'll probably see you around at the other events in the hospitals. Look forward to that.
Okay, round of applause for that.